Hello, beautiful. I am so happy you're here with me today. I want to start off with a little story, and then I want to talk a little bit about the Harris Walz campaign and how they have hit on these two topics that I have been, I don't know, that are part of my core values. And that when I noticed how deliberately they are using optimism and patriotism in the campaign, it made my heart sing. I just felt like Kamala Harris is speaking my love language. Anyway, we'll get to that. But I want to open with a story. So I was talking to this friend of mine who teaches a dance class that is beloved to me. And if you've listened to this podcast, you know that I'm a total fangirl and like go to this class a lot. And I talked about it before. But she was telling me that she was speaking to somebody at a business school and just like having a conversation, and that he asked her about this work she does in dance. Now, I think just to set the stage, like dance is sort of more of a side hustle level thing for this person. For my friend, she has a day job, as a professor, right? So she has like a salary and does a whole other thing in a whole other field. But dance and fitness is like a passion, and she's amazing at it. I mean, truly amazing. She has a huge following, of which I am a part, for good reason, because she's so talented. Her dances are incredible. And everybody in the room, it's like lightning in a bottle when you are in her dance class. You just feel it. Everybody in there is like having such a good time. It's like a place where everybody in there is just feeling it and like gets to escape from the regular life that they have. And just for 1 hour of the week, or maybe three, if you're like me and you go 3 times a week, just like put on a different persona and have just fun. So this person, this like businessy person, was asking her a question about like how she could monetize it better. Like, what is your business plan? How many students can you get in the classroom? How much can you charge them? And she was telling this to me, and I am a devotee of her and her dancing. And so I like immediately when I heard that, I was like, ooh, he's like totally missing the point. And part of that is because I think this class for my friend, I think it fulfills a different role in her life than just money. I mean, of course, she earns money, she deserves money for this work, and she puts in genuine work, but also it clearly gives her a source of community and fitness and fun and friendship and like letting her hair down. And of course, she's delivering that to all of us as well. So it kind of operates on multiple levels. It's not just about the money. And in fact, the reason that she has such a passionate following is that this class is so clearly a passion of hers. And I just wanted to bring up that story because I think it's really sometimes when you focus too much on the money part of what you're doing, you can actually really miss the point. And I think this is what is so alienating for people like us, creative people, people with a passion, people who are really into a thing, right? When you are doing a thing, and yes, maybe you're doing it for money, some money, maybe side hustle level, or for your whole livelihood. But when you're really passionate about the thing you're doing, there's something more to it than just money, right? And I actually think that's kind of the nub of this two-sided balance of you delivering value to the people that you serve and them paying you money in exchange. I actually think the whole project here is to get those two pieces into balance. And when that balance is right, you feel it. You don't feel that you're exploiting the people who are paying you, and they don't feel that they're being ripped off. They feel like they're getting amazing value for their money. When both sides feel happy there, everything works well. And I actually think you can feel it in your gut when that is out of balance, when you feel stressed and overworked and like your clients take you for granted and nobody appreciates the work you do. If you're feeling that way, you're probably not charging enough money. That is out of balance for you. And on the other hand, when people, when your clients feel like they're getting away with something by paying you as little as they do, that can be out of balance too. Or it could mean you've really figured out a great business model and you are able to serve people with maybe a one-to-many model where it's like you're not putting in one-to-one effort and you actually can deliver at such a low price. That is hard to achieve, but it is kind of the dream. So anyway, I wanted to start off just with that story because I really think it's important to understand that as I talk to you about money and teach you about taxes and systems for setting up more automated tax processes in your business, there's an irony to the fact that the work I do focuses on money because the point really is actually so you don't have to focus so much of your attention on money. I actually sort of hate this stuff in a way. I'm not wanting to be all up in my bank statements every day. I kind of just want to go like teach or, paint. And I think I know that that's how a lot of you come to the work that you do as well. And that actually taking a little upfront time and putting in good systems helps you not have to focus so much on the trip up effects of taxes or money. So you can actually have more bandwidth to focus on the thing that you love. All right, let me just talk about Kamala for a minute, and then I'm going to tell you a story. So I really noticed in the debate and also just in the Democratic National Convention that there were some themes coming out in the Harris Walz campaign that really speak to my heart that I honestly feel like the left has been missing in our conversation. And if you've been a longtime listener, you know that I have been here with these two things, even though they're unpopular. But the two things are patriotism. Yes, patriotism on the left. Yes. And optimism. Optimism, I mean, I don't know if you noticed the name of my company, Sunlight. It is named for an optimistic idea. I was born on the winter solstice. I was born on the darkest day of the year. And I feel some spiritual pull to that idea of no matter how dark it is, be the light. And I just think that there is room for hope in this world. No matter how dark things get, it's when you give up that things really go down. So as long as you have hope, as long as you are willing to put in to yourself be the light and not fall victim to looking around and seeing how much yuck there is around and just deciding you're going to join the yuck, that to me is a core value. And it speaks to me when I see Kamala and Tim and Coach Walz talking about optimism and the potential of this country, because I really believe in that. I really believe that this is a truly special place. This country is a special place. I don't think we're better than anybody else. I don't mean it in that way, but it's special. It's given me certainly a lot of gifts, and I think it has a lot of potential to expand out to other people. So the other side of that I've noticed in the Harris Walz campaign is patriotism, is like owning the flag, is like feeling pride about being American and about loving this country. And I've talked about this before. I've talked about my patriotism before, and I realized I probably got a lot of unsubscribes and a lot of people stopped listening to my podcast after I talked about it, but I mean it. I really mean it. And now that Kamala is talking about it, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, she gets me. Or I get her. But I think here's the thing, like this country is flawed. I don't know about you. Look at your parents. Are they perfect or are they flawed? Do you throw them in the garbage and say, "Oh, I hate my parents. I'm not proud of my parents. I don't love them because they're flawed human individuals?" No. Of course, I love my mother more than anyone on this earth. And also, she's a human and she's not perfect. I feel similar feelings towards this country. It has given me so much, and I feel gratitude. I feel gratitude for the things that I have received because I have grown up in the US with the protections of citizenship in the US. Now, there is definite white privilege there. There is definite economic privilege there. And I think the whole project of this country is expanding the opportunity that was originally intended for a certain group of people in this country, expanding it out and making sure that we, the people, is more and more and more inclusive until it includes really, truly all. So I was giving an example as I talked, I was being interviewed by this woman doing research on strategies to counteract authoritarianism. And I was telling her, I think it's civics. I really do. I think it's patriotism and civics. I think you have to give a shit about this country if you're going to be willing to fight for what you value about it. And that is what I believe. But I was telling her, like, well, let me just back it up for a second. So here's how I talk about patriotism to my girls, right? We were talking about voter rights and how voter suppression is still a thing in this country, and it's got a long history all the way back, probably since the founding, not just since when, enslaved people got the vote. So I was telling my girls, like, look, this country was founded on a beautiful idea, a truly, truly revolutionary idea at the time, that all men are created equal. Now, big asterisk on the all men part. Hold on to that thought. But the all men are created equal, that idea is beautiful. And who it included at the time was bigger than it had included before, right? And that was kind of a big deal, right? And something to look up to, something to aspire to. And then the project, and this is what I tell my children, the project of this nation and of being a citizen here is the fight is to expand expand that all men part of the equation, right? Who gets included in that? Like, I'm in a group that wasn't included in the original definition. I am a woman, right? A queer woman too. So I was not, though, a straight passing one, but so I'm included in that I'm not included in that original group, right? But I've still gotten the benefit of some of those protections and a lot of the opportunity because of the fights of people who came before me, right? The suffragettes, for example. And I think it's the fight of our country, it's the fight of our lives to really love that beautiful ideal and truly hold it like a sacred thing and feel proud of it and be willing to put yourself on the line for it and to fight to expand the we, right? The people who marched across the bridge in Selma most certainly felt patriotic, and they felt they were doing that because they believed in that ideal of this country and they were willing to do something about it. And I think that is inspiring and incredible. I really do love this country. I really do feel patriotic. And that is not in a glossy, jingoistic way that says we're better than other countries, or my type of person is better than any other type of person. I am a true Democrat, small d, meaning I believe in radical equality amongst all people of any status. But I think it's worth fighting to make sure all people get included in that beautiful ideal behind our founding documents. So that's my little TED Talk on patriotism and why I think patriotism not only belongs on the left, but can be a motivator and a positive thing, right? You can love your country and find it deeply flawed and also think it's worth putting in the effort to fix the flaws, right? That to me is that to me is my brand of patriotism. I believe in it very thoroughly. I teach taxes, I teach civics, I read tax law. And honestly, this work makes me believe in our country more. I feel more optimistic because of the work I do, not less. And I find that when people are in my program or come to my tax workshops and they learn about why the employer and the employee both equally pay into their future retirement benefit and future health benefit, that we have sort of made this agreement as a society about how we support people through the tax code, people tend to feel that it's more fair than they realized. The press out there, I don't know. When you actually look under the hood of our country, there's a lot that's really lovable. It's not all rotten, and I think there's a lot worth fighting for. Okay, so that's what the Kamala, that's what the Harris Walz campaign has kind of brought up to me, and just is making me think about these days, because those things, optimism and patriotism, they are such a core value of mine. And I hope you see that in them. And I hope that in some way that feels inspiring to you as well. So I wanted to bring up that idea of opportunity, of optimism, and expanding the benefits of what's good about this country to everybody. Because in a way, that is my project here at Sunlight Tax, right? Understanding how to use the things in the tax code that are truly there for you, that are often only taken advantage of by people who are maybe well-heeled, maybe a little overly white, right? It's my project to bring that to everyone, to people lower down on the economic ladder, people in historically marginalized groups, right? That's important. This stuff is for you too. I am expanding the we. That is part of my fight. So let's talk about the beautiful ideal of doing work that you truly, truly love, like my dance teacher, and being really damn good at it because of that love, right? And then charging appropriately, making money, having security, and getting all the benefits that US tax law truly has for you. So I think it's really important to understand that the US government, like the US tax law, really has a lot of benefits for small businesses. And small businesses are the engine of this economy. We are the lifeblood of the US GDP. No kidding. More than half of all Americans are employed by a small business. And that might include you. It includes me. I employ myself, right? And that's part of it. But truly, small business is the lifeblood of the US. And when you file a Schedule C, when you have a very small scale business, whether it is just side gig work, like my dance teacher, who's actually a professor, or whether it is your full-time jam, there's a lot in the tax code that can benefit you. So one of these things, and it's not charity, it's actually for a beneficial societal reason. You are given expenses tax-free. So when you bring money into your business, all the money you bring in could be taxed. We could tax all of it, right? Every single invoice you send to a client, every single, student fee who comes to your dance class, we could tax 100% of that, but we don't. We let you use that money to pay for expenses to run your business and expand your business. And anything you put back into your business is tax-free. In other words, you can deduct the cost of running and expanding your business and not pay taxes on it. So you only pay, when you are a business in the US, you only pay tax on your profit. You don't pay tax on all the money that you bring in. We don't have to build the tax code that way. That's a choice. And that's a choice that supports you. It helps you boost the power of your dollars as you run your business. And it's not charitable. It's actually because when you spend money on your business, you are growing it, making it more resilient, more efficient, and better at what it does, so that you can then offer this service or product to a larger audience. You can offer it at a higher quality, at a lower price. Pick the way you want to do it. It allows you to run more efficiently, make more profit, serve more people, do a better job, right? And in the meantime, when you spend the money, those expenses of running your business are circulating for the most part in the US economy. You are supporting other businesses when you spend money in your business. So that's already a public good. But even beyond that, when you invest enough in your business to make it run well, your business will grow. It will expand. It's not a guarantee. We know that business is hard, but the US government is truly giving you a boost there. And I want you to just appreciate how great that is. When you grow, when your business grows, what else happens? You hire people, so you become a job creator. And then on top of that, you make more profit, and then you will pay more tax. You pay back in to support the system that has supported you. That is a beautiful, beneficial cycle. I think it's optimistic. I think it's generous. I think it's wonderful. And it's there for you. So let's talk about the beautiful ideal running the business. And now let's talk about expanding the we, the people, who's included in that. I think The beauty is when people like you and me, who are ethical, who have a real vision, who do something we're passionate about and care about, when we run businesses in an ethical way, in a way that feels good to us and to our clients, and that puts our values out into the world, how much better can you get? More businesses that look like the full range of people in this country. I think that's a gorgeous, beautiful ideal that I'm willing to fight for, that I'm willing to run my business and teach about every single day of my life, because I think it's awesome. There's another tax benefit that's a little bit more counterintuitive, but is actually my number one favorite part of the US tax code, just to be a nerd for a minute. And that is the ability of a business to take a loss. Now, I have other episodes that do a deep dive on losses, and feel free to look at those. Also look at the episode on startup expenses, because it's in the zone of that lost time in your business. But the US tax code allows a business, not a hobby, but a business, if you're really trying to make a go at it, if you're really trying to make a profit, you're allowed to take a loss. And the loss actually puts cash in your pocket when you need it the most. And I think that's incredible. So here's how it works. I'm going to use myself as an example when I was a baby artist starting out in year one. Now, I'm more than 15 years into my professional art career at this point. So this was not yesterday, but about 15 years ago, when I graduated from my MFA program at Boston University, I started out and I had expenses, right? I had to set up as a professional artist, right? So for most artists, the big expense there is going to be a studio, right? So for me, that was true. I put first, last, and security on a studio in Dorchester, and I built it out somewhat. So I'm buying a lot of Homozote, really great lighting, making sure the walls are in good condition, because I want my paintings to look great in there. And let's just say that I sunk $10,000 into outfitting that studio and making it really nice and really functional, right? So $10,000 expense on my Schedule C. And while I am, I have some work in a group show, I have a gallery that promises me that if that work does well, that I'll get a solo show in a year. I have these things cooking, but in the art world, things are kind of slow. And so, yeah, great. I'm going to make money in a year, but that's not today. So I have zero listed as income on my Schedule C. So I literally have a Schedule C that says $0 income, $10,000 expenses. So my profit is negative 10,000. In other words, it's a loss. Now, if you don't believe me that this is possible, go look at the title of a Schedule C. It actually says in the title, profit or loss from business. Okay, so use your own eyes. You don't have to take my word for it. So I list $10,000 loss in my first year of business. This is pretty normal. Expenses always precede profit. They always precede income. You can't sell a painting until you have a place to make the painting, right? So expenses come first. So you're always going to have a loss before you have income. And the mistake a lot of people make is they think they're not allowed to file a Schedule C until they're profitable. And if you make that mistake, you're missing out on one of the biggest benefits in the US tax code. All right, so to carry on and finish out what that benefit looks like. Now, while I am setting up for my art practice, my independent art practice, I am supporting myself with a job, and this is real. I worked at the Institute for Contemporary Art as an art installer, okay? It was a really fun job, and I loved it. Plus the crews in museums, if you've ever worked an install crew, they're so awesome. All the people are amazing and like lifelong friends because they're all artists and musicians. So it's like a really fun job. Anyway, sidebar. So I worked at the ICA Boston, and let's just pretend for a minute that I was on salary there. In reality, I wasn't. It was 1099. But and let's say that I made $50,000 salary. Okay. So my tax withholding on that W-2 is based on $50,000 of income. Okay. But with all salaries, when you're paid on payroll, you have withholding that is paying into your tax obligation for the year throughout the year. And if you overpay, you get a refund back. Well, here's where that loss comes in. Because I'm operating a genuine business with a profit motive, as an artist and I'm just getting set up, it's year one, it's that heavy expense year before income has come in the door, that $10,000 loss gets subtracted off my other income. So instead of paying income tax on $50,000, I get to pay income tax on $40,000 because of that $10,000 loss. And the beauty here is because I had withholding on that income, then I've prepaid too much tax, more than I will end up owing, and I actually get that excess back as a refund. I get dollars in my bank account during my heaviest loss year in business. That's a year when I could really use that cash. In fact, that cash might be the difference between me making it through year two and not, right? So that loss is a huge benefit given to a small business like you and me under the US tax code. And yes, it is my favorite part. So, I mean, use with caution. This is not individual tax advice. Listen to my loss episode for the warnings on that, but it's a beautiful, wonderful thing. It's an opportunity. It's a wonderful thing you get. And yes, I feel gratitude to the US government, to the IRS for that amazing benefit. All right. So it really is my vision that this world is populated, that this country is populated with ethical, creative, funky, weird, amazing, awesome small businesses like you and me, doing work we feel passionate about and that serves communities we care for, right? That's what I want to see in the world. And I think when you get both your money mindset and your money systems, and especially your tax systems, when you get them organized and set up, it just allows you so much more bandwidth to do the thing you're passionate about and serve more people and have a bigger impact without being distracted and derailed by tax hiccups and tax debt. So I just wanted to name check a couple of my clients who are doing this work. And I just want to help you kind of future cast into that space where you might be working, you might get these systems set up for yourself and I want you to picture what that could enable for you when you have these systems set up and you get to spend less time on your taxes, less time managing money because it's more automated. You've got systems kind of handling it in the background. What would be possible for you? So I just wanted to talk about for just a second, just to help you picture what this could look like. I just want to talk about 3 of my current and former clients. So Laura Wood is this amazing jeweler. She's here in Asheville, and she makes this enamel jewelry. And they're these big, like, statement pieces. They're gorgeous, really colorful, and they're very funky. And this is the kind of person who might easily, now I don't know that Laura actually talks about her work this way, but a lot of times when I see somebody who makes like beautiful jewelry or ceramics or something, they downplay the value of their work. They say, oh, I just do this. But I feel like work like this is incredibly important. Really and truly. I am wearing my own pair of Laura Wood earrings right here. I know that this is a podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my hot pink, really, really cool earrings that I always get compliments on. They're my favorite pair of earrings, and they're made by Laura Wood. And like, they're a conversation starter. I wore them to this fancy book launch party that Farnoosh Torabi had in New York City. And we talked about them because these look just like the hot pink exclamation point on Farnoosh's new book. And so we were like talking about that. Like, these earrings have opened doors for me because they're a statement piece. They're a thing that we could have a conversation about. Somebody might ask me about them and I get to say, oh my God, this amazing woman, Laura Wood, she makes this incredible jewelry. It's really cool. And she's been really figuring out how to run the business part. And so she's done this so well that she actually managed to open a physical space here in Asheville that you can visit if you are local, or if you visit Asheville, it's on Klingman Ave. And it's really cool. That is a huge accomplishment, right? Opening a brick and mortar space to sell your jewelry. I think that's a big deal. Another client is Marissa Molinar, who runs Midday Movement in Somerville, Mass. She is a dancer, and one of her, what Marissa is doing is she's teaching dance in a way that is body positive, body inclusive, with a special focus on BIPOC people and historically marginalized communities. I just think that this is a really beautiful thing, you know, like talk about expanding the we, right? Like I think there's this sort of stereotype about dancers as this certain kind of like skinny white lady. And I think that Midday Movement, Marissa's company, is doing this expansion of dance into like all bodies and inclusive, you know, historically marginalized groups. It's just such a cool vision, and she's doing something so beautiful. Not to mention how much dance brings together community and brings joy and health, and scientific research is catching up to the thing that dancers have always known, that it makes you feel good, that it shakes out the worries of your day. And so Marissa is doing amazing work. And she has also, you know, been through my program and part of, I think, you know, not to take credit for the incredible work she does, but I do think that her taking care of the money side is part of what has helped her move her business forward. And lastly, I want to mention to you my client, my former client, Cara Bean. I've talked about her sometimes in workshops that I do, but Cara like had this, she was the public school art teacher in Lexington, Mass. And she had this vision that she kept seeing her students, like preteens and teens, with serious mental health challenges, right? Like suffering from depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, like really tough stuff. And certainly if you're a parent and you parented through the pandemic, you know that this stuff all got way worse after that, that kids are really struggling right now. We're still recovering from stuff that happened and got set up in the pandemic. So Cara, she had this, she's a cartoonist herself, right? And so she had this vision, like, I want to quit my day job. I want to go all in and write a graphic novel about mental health for teens. And she's a person that, because of her work, she really understands the issue, and she also knows how to deliver it in the format that kids these days really like graphic novel, right? So she joined my program, Money Bootcamp, and it enabled her to quit her day job, right? So I think that's really cool. She was able to set up the systems to, you know, be putting money away for retirement. She used to have that automated through a 401k at work, and now she's not going to. She was able to quit her job, and she did it. She wrote that book, she published it, and it's out now. You can get it. In fact, I'll link to it in the show notes. It's called I Am Me. And it's a book, it's a graphic novel geared towards teens that talks about the brain and brain chemistry and brain health and mental health. And she's not shy about talking about the really, really hard stuff. This is a book that is an amazing resource if you have a preteen or teen in your life who is, I don't know, who has a brain. So these are just some examples of incredible, like expansive businesses that are doing good in the world, that in part have been able to do a little more good, reach a little more people, and have a little more bandwidth because they handled the money side. So that is where I want to leave you today. Patriotism, gratitude, optimism, and the fact that you too can benefit from the amazing things in the US tax code if you learn a little bit more about how they work and how they can apply to you. Speaking of which, tomorrow I am offering a free class where I'm going to be teaching you a little bit more in depth about this. If you want to join that free class, I'm going to talk about some of the mistakes that freelancers make, some of the simple systems that you can set up to help yourself not get derailed by taxes. It's called Make Taxes Easier and Stash an Extra 130K in Your Savings. And if you want to come, you can register at go.sunlighttax.com/register. One more time, go.sunlighttax.com/register. The class is free, but space is limited, and you'd need to be registered to join. So Just register there. I'll also put a link in the show notes for you to register, and I hope I will see you in class tomorrow. Thanks for joining me today, everybody. Bye. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm so grateful for that. This video is for education and entertainment only. Nothing in this episode should be taken as individual tax or financial advice. You can find all the tools, books, and links I reference at sunlighttax.com/podcast.